tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. Everything I do so instinctive and so passionate. Every word I move so descriptive like an adjective. I got a vendetta against people who patented being negative when you should be getting after it. I got facts over tracks, this and that. Spitting slow, spitting fast, I could roast, I could gas. Think I'm okay at last, but I don't know if that can erase all the past. And the pettiness, a reflection of the emptiness. Hilarious, you think you're worth my time, you're delirious. Mysterious, because you hide behind a fake exterior. Inferior, you know I'll always be a bit superior. Get off of me, this ain't no humble brag. I want you to hear words, you can say them back. I want you to feel free from the chains at last, and to believe in what you got, it was built to last, yeah. Now that I've been put through hell, I never got anyone's help. I had to do it all myself. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. Gonna learn the consequence of being incompetent. Mental health is confidence, dreams and some honestness. I'm not here to save the day, that's for you to take away. I could play a million mind games, but
well, hell yes. Good morning. It's Saturday. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Whew. I missed you guys. I do. I miss you. I miss you. I miss you. I should be back next week, probably Wednesday for morning coffee, but I miss you guys. I really do. So I'm going to say this, and I'm going to do a members only tonight. Okay. Tonight, I'm doing a members only. But I'm just going to say this right up front. I see Jen's in the chat. Jen, I understand from what I'm being told that the bee has not been live. And for, I guess, one day you went live and everything you discussed was about the bee. I don't understand it. I don't get it. If she's not talking about you, but I still see, and I keep telling you, you're giving them fuel. You're feeding them stuff, and this shit will not end. But we'll talk about that later. Love you guys. Love you, love you, love you. Hi, Kelly. Hi, Savage. Hi, Teresa from Akron, Ohio. Hi, Just Beetle. Hi, my Hibernero. My beautiful Hibernero. Genuinely Jen. Savage Speaks, my girl. Okay, Savage, that was a good live you did. And I love the new songs. I had to read because I didn't know you went live that day. I didn't get a notification or anything. And I missed it. But trust me, I replayed it. Let's see who else. Sassy Nerd Girl, good morning. Hell's the bomb. Good morning, Vault, my sweetie. Good morning. I hope everything is going well with you. Teresa Murphy, how are you, sweetie? But yeah, so I wanted to say that. Okay, but you keep saying that, Jen, and you keep feeding into it. But anyway, I don't even want to discuss that right now. I didn't know 11 was going live. I just looked. Hi, Green Bell Pepper. Good morning. I went into 11's live yesterday, and I don't know what kicked all of that off. So I'm going to have to watch it because that's one of the things that I will be discussing, but not this morning. So. I did. I said, good morning, green bell pepper. I use green bell pepper in damn near everything, and habaneros and serranos. We need all the peppers. Just Beetle, good morning, sweetie. So I don't know what kicked it off. I went into oh my God, Savage, your new shit is off the chain. I think you took the number one spot again. So I saw Kendra was live last night. I went in for a little bit and I fell asleep, but I'm going to replay Kendra's live too so I can get the gist of what happened, because I thought all of this shit had died down. I really did. So I don't know what's going on, and in a way I like to keep it that way, but I did hear what I did hear of Kendra's, that Maria brought my name up again in what I did to Brooke. I didn't do a damn thing to Brooke. Okay? Stop it. Just stop. Shit. Stop. Hi, Simply Sophie. Yeah, so I didn't I caught some of Kendra's, and I know she was talking about she's playing musical cars, but I was in it. I mean, I was going to sleep. I had a long day. And I'm gonna have another long week, not next week, but the week after that, because I'm gone again. Vault, I took a gander at Cornhole's community tab. Now, I thought Cornhole, well, I know who she is on IG, but I didn't know all of this shit was going on. Hi, Simply Sophie. Girl, I heard that Lori said she wants a pay pig. Hi, Aries. Good morning. Lori wants a pay pig. But after I go through what I'm going to go through this morning, we're going to look at unmasking Fraudita Reaper. Okay? We're going to unmask Fraudita Reaper. Her name suits her just fine. Fraudita. That's what she is. So we have, let's see. So today is Saturday. I really was planning on sleeping in, but I just couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. I went to, when I got in here yesterday, I took a nice hot bubble bath. Girl, I took a nice hot bubble bath, and I was hoping my sister was going to go live last night on the TikTok, but she didn't. Trying to be a damn mob boss or something. Ain't nobody afraid of nobody on the fucking internet unless you're gonna fucking pull up. And I doubt there's a few people that will actually pull up and say anything to anybody's face. Okay, I doubt that seriously. So those are keyboard warriors. Okay, all of this shit just keeps going and going and going and going and going. Oh, we're going to talk about Diddy real quick. I mean, not real quick, but we are going to talk about Diddy. I think the prosecution was hurt a little bit yesterday with the cross-examination, but she bounced back strong. So we are going to talk about that. Okay, sweetie. So I was I listened to what Mickey Mouse put up. No, I didn't fall asleep in the tub. No, I did not. I was in there for like an hour and a half, me and my Dr. Teals. It felt so good. You know how it feels when you're back in your own shit? It just feels so good. So it just felt really, really good. But I was this shit with with Diddy and Cassie. And you know, when I was watching TikTok a little bit, and people were saying, okay, she was a willing participant, she deserves everything she got. So when they were talking about the co-defendant, now he's charged with RICO. Okay, that means it's a criminal enterprise. Okay, a criminal enterprise. So who are his co-defendants? Yes, I have Becky Hill, 3 felonies for obstruction. Girl, I have it. I have it. I have it. She's the one that wrote the book. She's the one that the jurors was saying that, she would come in the jury room and she would tell them, he's lying, he's lying. Yes, I know who Becky Hill is. I also know that Buster got married. Buster got married. So, I just want him to go to jail too. But Buster got married. But anyway, it's a RICO charge. It's a criminal enterprise. So who are the co-defendants? I haven't heard of any other arrest. I don't know if they made deals with these people to turn against the Tootsie Roll. And the reason I'm calling him Tootsie Roll, you guys may not be aware of, but a lawsuit was filed on Wednesday. But they missed that window. Yep, she jeopardized that whole damn case, but he was guilty as shit. But a lawsuit was filed on Wednesday by a Jane Doe, of course. But she missed that window, okay? She missed that window. And she says that, and in this lawsuit, they put Tootsie Rolls in it, and they had one unwrapped. She said that she had I think I told you guys this. She had went out to dinner with Sean. Then they went back. She followed him upstairs, and he threw her on the bed, ripped off her clothes, and then took his clothes off. She said once she saw the size of his, I'm not going to say manhood, kidhood, she said it was like a Tootsie Roll. And she wasn't afraid because she knew it wasn't going to hurt. Good morning, Jenna. So that explains, hi, my Sarah motherfucking Z. That explains why he likes the freak offs. Because the bitch don't have shit. And then when I heard Cassie sent the message about, I need the dick. What dick are we talking about, girl? What dick are we talking about, Sarah? Drive carefully. Because my understanding, and if we remember that towel when he was running down the hall, we didn't see nothing jumping. We didn't see no movement down there. We saw nothing. He could have had a clip for all we knew. Okay? He ain't got shit. Like R. Kelly was saying, that was his brother's dick. No, bitch, that was your dick. You don't have anything either. It's not funny. It's really, it's not funny. It's not funny, but it is funny. Bitch, you got a Tootsie Roll. If you look at it, I started going back looking at pictures. You don't see a print nowhere in his goddamn pants. Bitch, you got a Tootsie Roll. Come on. Get the fuck out of here. Yes, Wendy. Yes. He ordered. She said after she saw the size of his kidhood, we're not going to say manhood, because I'm sure my 3 or 8-year-old grandson is bigger than that. She said she wasn't scared because it wasn't going to hurt. I want to know if she felt anything besides his weight. Okay? I want to know if she even knew it was there. God damn. A Tootsie Roll. Ness, wait a minute. I'm serious. In the lawsuit, Just Beetle, in the lawsuit, the attorney had the pictures. It was 3 Tootsie Rolls. 2 were wrapped and 1 was unwrapped to give you a visual. That's where Nancy Grace got it from. But the lawsuit isn't going anywhere because the woman missed that window. But she still filed. Oh my God. No, Chris Brown definitely don't have a Tootsie Roll. We see what Chris Brown is packing, okay? We see what Chris Brown is packing. He makes a point to show it off. He makes a point when he's moving, it moves. Bruno Mars don't have a Tootsie Roll either, okay? That's what I'm saying. But it's just the way she said it. After she saw it, she wasn't scared. But an assault is an assault. It's a fucking assault. And why are you waiting? But I understand now because of all the fucking cops that were being paid off. So the witness list, they've been, it's sealed. No one knows, and it's for their own protection. Everybody was going, oh, Cassie was going through those doors in the back of the federal courthouse. She went through that garage. Okay. He was arrested for an assault with a wine bottle at a club in 2023. He's in the UK for his concert, for his tour, and they went and arrested his ass at his hotel. Did you think that they were going to forget? You're so dumb. The lawyer did. Well, the woman told him the size, so the lawyer put the picture of the Tootsie Roll in the lawsuit. 2 Tootsie Rolls were in a wrapper, and 1 was unwrapped, so we can get the gist of what it looks like. I'm sorry. If I'm being attacked, I'm not going to worry about the size of it, okay? Oh my God, Jen and Barrett, me too. You can go to CNN. You can go to it's all over TikTok, sweetie. You can go to Miss Knockout on TikTok. She's out there in front of the courthouse, and then at night she reads the transcripts off. So her handle is hold on, I'm gonna put her handle in here for TikTok. It's at Miss _ Knockout. She's out there, and shit, she's been on TMZ. She was interviewed yesterday. The lawyer did it. Yep, exactly. I would not be thinking about the size of it. Grape is great, okay? I don't care if you're big, small. It's the same thing. It's force. It's violence. Oh, he was denied bail. Oh, good. I didn't like that little boy. I don't. Even though he's got a nice package, but I don't like that little boy. He's a fucking abuser. He should be going to jail too. Yes, that's Miss Knockout. She's in the courtroom. She goes in and she comes out when they go on break. And then at night on her TikTok channel, she reads the transcripts for anything we've missed. Good morning, my sister. Yes, her name is Miss _Knockout. That is her name. So again, it's Miss. And then what she's doing, and I gave her a suggestion and she listened. She's been bringing people up in the box to discuss the testimony that they've heard. So she's been bringing, knockout, not knockout, replace that Y with a T. She's been bringing people up in the boxes so you can discuss the testimony. Now, I'm going to say that, the prosecution was hurt a little bit. They were. Hi, Marsha E. But before we get to Diddy, we've got some other things to discuss. Shit, we had a breakout in the prison in New Orleans. We got an update on the mother that, check her out. Her name is Miss _knockout. And then I also follow TT Harris. He is out front of the courthouse. And then there is New York Vibes. He's out there too. Good morning, my sister. Both of my sisters are here. Hi, Party Rock. Both of my sisters are in the house. Good morning. Sister, I still didn't get that picture. I'm talking to Leslie. I still didn't get that picture, sister. I told two, I said, when you talk to Leslie, ask her to send it to you, and then you send it, and then maybe I'll get it. Sister, yesterday was Janet Jackson's birthday. That is Just Beetle. That is my other baby. Look, two baby sisters. My baby sister from my mommy is Leslie. My baby sister from my daddy is Keeping It Real. So yeah, both of my sisters are in the house. The picture of the flowers, girl, I still never got the pictures of the flowers that I sent to mama. I still don't have that picture. And we were on the phone and you said, okay, I just sent it. And I'm going, still not here. Still not here. Still not here. I just wanted to see what they look like. Yeah, I just wanted to see what they look like because I told them what I wanted. So I wanted to see what they look like. But yeah, so Keeping It Real. Hi, Bonero, my other sister is here, and that's Leslie. She's here. Oh my God. Oh my God. Did I just dox somebody? Nope. That's my sister's name. So let's see. Let's look at the update from the woman that abandoned her fucking children. Let's take a look at her real quick, and we're going to get into Diddy because this shit, we've got some testimony about Kid Cuddy that I really wanted to discuss. And so we're going to do that. We're going to talk about the sores in her mouth. We're definitely going to talk about that and all of the damn infections she had. Jesus Christ. She was a walking fucking pharmaceutical company. Hold on. Here we go.
Major update. The mom accused of abandoning her 3 children in a home of squalor, facing a judge today.
And who could forget the horrific conditions those children were living in when Oakland County deputies discovered them during a welfare check. That was back in February. Hazmat crews called to clean out the place. Investigators say the children slept alone there for several years, afraid to venture out.
Well, today a judge ruled that there is enough evidence against their mother, Kelly Bryant, and ordered her to stand trial.
That decision coming after new details were revealed in court, with detectives saying Bryant confessed when...
Now, there's a longer version, and I'm going to put it in the chat. The cop was testifying about the smell in that home and how foul it was. I don't know if there's a clip in here or not, but there's a 23-minute version of her in court, and I'll drop that link in the chat so you guys can go see it.
She said, quote, "I sacrificed my children." 7 News Detroit reporter Sarah Michaels in court as some of Bryant's secrets were being revealed.
Observation was what appeared to be feces covering their clothing, in their hair.
February 14th, Oakland County Sheriff's detectives were horrified to find 3 children, ages 12, 13, and 15, living in mold, feces, and squalor, abandoned in this Pontiac home for 4 to 5 years.
I've never smelt a home that smelled that bad without a decomposing body present.
Friday, 3 months later, their mother, 34-year-old Kelly Bryant, was in court physically for the first time for her preliminary examination. Prosecutors brought forth the detectives who found her children and who interviewed Bryant herself. Detective Brish saying he'll never forget meeting Bryant at the police station 1 hour after they found her kids hiding in a bathtub full of feces.
Her hair was done. She was wearing what appeared to be new clothes that were clean. She had long, fake nails.
Detectives say that Bryant was always living within walking distance of the children she abandoned.
Yes, right.
She hadn't touched them or given them hygiene products for years. She would have food dropped off to them
So, no hygiene products, okay? Your daughters are old enough to have their cycle. What the fuck? Is that why we saw the blood and shit on those mattresses? This shit is sick. Hi, Christoph. I'm sorry.
Once a week, and she confessed to detectives.
She knew that her actions were selfish. That was her wording, and that it made her children sick.
Oh my God, he's a good looking detective. God damn. He cute. He ain't bad looking. Got a hawk nose, but he ain't bad looking.
And that she ultimately sacrificed her children for her own purposes.
According to detectives, Bryant's children were found in soiled clothes, hunched over with toenails several inches long.
Yes,
Bryant admitted to telling the children to never leave or open the door, purposely instilling a deep fear within them.
In those interviews, the court heard from all three victims about their irrational fear of strangers, pedophiles, and being blackmailed.
Further evidence brought forth revealed that Bryant would communicate mostly with the oldest boy through sporadic text messages. He had his mother listed in his phone as world's greatest mom. She had her children listed as my oldest, kid 1 and kid 2.
I would speak on the severity of the situation and my concerns for the children on their path to recovery and moving forward. And typically her response would be, is there anything I can do to help myself?
Detectives said that Bryant told them she lied to all of her family to keep her children hidden.
You change your name to Petty Rock? Girl. Petty Rock. I just noticed that. I thought it said Party Rock. It's Petty Rock.
She took the batteries out of the smoke detector in the home, so there was no risk of the fire department or police officers ever coming by.
She took the smoke detectors out the home. You took smoke detectors out of a home that was cluttered and nasty and could have caught fire. Your kids would have been engulfed in that shit. Bitch, you deserve prison for the rest of your life.
Defense argues that after the children were discovered in their care house interviews, the children did not seem to be suffering from severe mental harm.
Those children were articulate. They were answering questions.
Ultimately, the judge did not agree. She sent Bryant to stand trial on 3 counts of first-degree child abuse and 3 counts of welfare fraud.
There's no question.
Damn!
But this is an extraordinary case.
In Pontiac, Sarah Michaels, 7 News Detroit.
Okay, so hold on a second. Here is the long one that is right here. I'm just going to drop it. Look. I'm going to drop it in the chat. So this is her whole arraignment. Okay? Okay, there we go. There she goes.
Good morning, Your Honor. Your
So, let's look at the prison breakout. There was 16, 12, and 10. What, 16? Wait a minute. 16. So the son was the oldest, 16, 12, and 10. Because they've been living like that for 4 or 5 years. And the youngest one was, yep, those are the ages. No, some people shouldn't procreate, but I dropped it in the chat for you guys to see it. But then we had this breakout in New Orleans, okay? We have, but at first, DMW, she gave her a $250 million bail that was reduced. She had a $250 million bail. And she kept her from being around. Let me pause this. She kept them. The kids went to her dad, but I don't think the kids are there at the dad's anymore because the judge didn't like the arrangement where the kids went to the dad. So I don't know if they're still with the dad or someone else. And I said I wanted to check on that. But she doesn't deserve kids. So here is the breakout in the New Orleans jail. 10. Here we go. So you're just going to see there's no sound. What she did was she abandoned her kids in a home for at least 4 years, 4 or 5 years. So they're getting, yep. So they pulled the toilet away from the wall. So he's opening the door to try to get the other ones out. Now, you do know that there's a control room, right? In any jail, there's a big control room with cameras everywhere. The woman that was supposed to be in that room is normally one or two, sometimes two. She said she had went to eat. If she went to eat, then someone else should have been there watching. There was no way these guys should have escaped. You can't tell me she's not part of this. Can't tell me she's not part of this. Why? She's getting welfare. She's being charged with welfare fraud too. She's getting welfare. Look, he just walking by. He don't want no parts of it. Look. Nobody is helping. Okay, he got help now. 10 of them escaped. I thought this shit was the funniest shit. I'm like, wait a minute, what? Here they go. I'm sorry. Hi, Mr. Rock. So this this is I-10. They escaped from the city jail. Now, mayor can't trail. Yes, they fired a few officers. But wait a minute. But these are dangerous. Hold on. These are dangerous criminals.
Louisiana State troopers from Troop NOLA ended up taking him back to the jail in order to be rebooked on an escape charge. Louisiana State troopers from Troop NOLA ended up taking him back to the jail in order to be rebooked on an escape charge. What we have heard from security experts is that police may be looking at how he's
probably the youngest one that they caught, because these old heads, they're going to know how to get out. Hi, 11. These old heads know how to get out. And I'm thinking they had help. That woman, bullshit. Okay. I call bullshit. She was fucking one or two of these in order for them to know when she wasn't there. Okay.
He ended up where he ended up and following his trail as he left the facility in order to get an idea of how others may have done the same, using that intelligence in order to try and find these other 9 inmates, many of them being held on very serious charges, running the gamut from murder to domestic violence charges. You can see them on your screen right there. They are still involved in a very active manhunt at 3:30 in the afternoon at this hour. And the area around, this is Derek Groves. This is a little bit more about the different.
Look at this. 2 counts of second-degree murder. 3 counts of attempted second-degree murder. They escaped yesterday. Was it yesterday? Or was it the day before? Because they caught 1. Yesterday, they escaped. It was yesterday.
Different offenders that they are looking at right now. You could see that was Derek Groves, who was just recently convicted. I believe he may be waiting sentencing, which is why he hasn't been transferred to a state facility yet.
Why are you escaping? Simple burglary, possession of a firearm by, oh yeah, I would escape too, by a felon, multiple drug charges, theft of a motor vehicle.
But this is Leo Tate. Charges against him: simple burglary, possession of a firearm by a felon, drug charges, theft of a motor vehicle. That's what he's wanted for. Corey Boyd, second-degree murder, attempted second-degree murder, aggravated battery, and illegal carrying of a weapon. These are the charges against Corey Boyd. He's awaiting trial. Antoine Massey, charges of domestic battery involving strangulation, theft of a motor vehicle, and a parole violation that was recently revoked, I think in March of this year. So he just recently was put back in the jail, and now he is out on the lam right now. Gary Price, charges against him: multiple counts of attempted first-degree murder, aggravated second-degree battery, multiple shooting case, I think, involving him. And Lenton Van Buren, these are the charges against him: second-degree murder, aggravated robbery with a firearm, possession of a firearm by a felon. Jermaine Donald, second-degree murder charges, aggravated battery, possession of a firearm by a felon. Takeenan Dennis, aggravated armed robbery with a firearm, illegal carrying of a weapon, false imprisonment, and
he kidnapped somebody. These are the people that escaped. These are murderers. God damn.
aggravated battery. Serious charges among many of these people who escaped the Orleans Justice Center last night.
So that's the ones that escaped, okay? They escaped. I'm just like, what the fuck? And they're out. They only caught one. They only caught one. And I'm thinking it's the younger one. Okay, E11 is saying, hi, PMR, Mari, Christoph, chat, Heidi. Hi, E11. E11 is out in her yard. So let's get to Diddy and Cassie. We're going to get to Diddy and Cassie. I'm going to play this first, and then I'm going to, I have another one that I wanted to talk about. But Cassie's attorney came out, and he made a statement. So let's look at what happened here. Because there's so much misinformation floating around. But I like the people that are actually in the courthouse that comes out and gives you the blow by blow. And then E11 Hypernero is saying hello. All right, here we go.
So-called freak-offs. The last text they presented from Cassie was this one from 2012 that said, I don't want to freak off for the last time. I want it to be the first time for the rest of our lives. Here's a statement from Cassie that her lawyer read after court.
Wait a minute.
This week has been extremely challenging, but also remarkably empowering and healing for me. I hope that my testimony has given strength and a voice to other survivors and can help others who have suffered to speak up and also heal from abuse and fear. For me, the more I heal, the more I can remember. And the more I can remember, the more I will never forget.
And even though
now, I just want to say this. Cassie did go to rehab. She went to rehab for PST and trauma and for being so in love with someone that she couldn't think straight. Okay? So, Petty Rock, I said, I told you how you were my favorite rock.
Cassie's testimony has been the big headline here. There is a lot that paints a huge picture that we're just barely scratching the surface on. Jury was played this recording of Cassie threatening one of the escorts today who allegedly had video of one of the freak-offs, repeatedly saying that she would kill him if that video got out. That is one piece of evidence. The defense also attempted to break down the credibility of Cassie's rape allegations against Combs. And after Cassie finished, Dawn Richard, another singer, took the stand and testified that she saw Combs attack Cassie with a skillet.
So I just want to say this again. He's not being charged with domestic violence. That is a state charge. He hasn't been charged with domestic violence. We know what California stated, that incident happened in 2016. The statute of limitations had run out. They're looking for coercion. They're looking for forced labor. They're looking for sex trafficking. Okay? That's his RICO charge. Again, I want to know who the co-defendants are, because when you have a RICO charge, that is an illegal enterprise that you're committing criminal offenses. So who are your co-defendants?
For more, here's NBC's entertainment correspondent Chloe Malas.
Yep, she did.
In her final day on the stand, Cassie Ventura spoke again about the day Combs brutally beat her in a hotel hallway in 2016. Ventura, who is potentially days away from giving birth, testifying that Combs was blackout at the time of the assault from drugs and alcohol. At one point reading a text she sent him after the violent attack. "I am not a rag doll. I am someone's child." Following 20 hours of testimony this week, her attorney Douglas Wigdor speaking outside the courthouse, reading a statement from Ventura.
I hope that my testimony has given strength.
Now, I just want to say this. Those text messages, they had already made an agreement with the prosecution and the defense that they weren't going to come in to testimony. But since the opening statement included messages about between the two of them, they opened the door. So the judge allowed those text messages to be read in court.
And a voice to other survivors, and can help others who have suffered to speak up and also heal from abuse and fear.
Today's cross-examination focusing heavily on Ventura's allegation that Combs raped her in 2018 after they had ended their relationship, which he denies.
Now, whenever she wears a swoop like this, she said she was always hiding a black eye. They talked about her being out with French Montana at a party. Her hair was blue or green or something, and she had that swoop. She was covering up a black eye.
The defense showing text messages between the former couple the day after the alleged rape, including one in which Ventura sent a heart emoji to Combs. Combs' team also trying to poke holes in Ventura's timeline.
That is not. Stop this for a minute. While she was testifying about the alleged rape, her husband, Alex Fine, I'm calling him Fine because he's fine as shit. They had him removed from the courtroom. So he was sitting in a chair by himself, and he was staring so hard at Diddy, the Tootsie Roll, that they removed him at that time when she was going to be testifying about this. So...
not the gotcha moment that defense attorneys think it is. I mean, at the end of the day, witnesses are not great on specific dates, particularly when they go back years ago.
The defense also pointing to a text exchange between Ventura and Combs from 2012, in which she wrote, "I don't want to freak off for the last time. I want it to be the first time for the rest of our lives." At times today, the defense appeared to struggle to maintain momentum, facing frequent objections by prosecutors and regularly stopping Ventura's questioning to whisper together. Combs appeared to be actively involved, passing his lawyers notes. In a striking exchange with Combs' lawyers, Ventura saying, despite it all, "I don't hate him. I have love for the past and what it was."
This statement right here, "I don't hate him. I have love for the past and what it was." So this man used you as a punching doll. He had you perform freak-offs where at first you didn't want to do it. Then you wanted to do it because you wanted to please him. So you kept doing it. And your job, as you said, Cassie, was to arrange these freak-offs. That was her job, to arrange freak-offs.
We also saw musician Dawn Richard take the stand. She said that she witnessed Combs be violent with Ventura over the course of their relationship. I just want to remind everyone that Combs denies all of the allegations against him. Back to you.
And let's bring in Lauren Conlin, reporter and podcast host for Pop Crime TV on YouTube, who's been in the courtroom
every day. She is in the courtroom every day as well. And then she has a podcast here on YouTube where she gives you blow by blow as well.
This week has also been all over our For You pages. Lauren, thanks so much for being with us. You were in the courtroom. I want to get your sense of how the jury was reacting to Cassie's testimony throughout the week, especially the pictures and the text that they got to see so far.
Well, I was in the overflow room today, but the consensus about the jury is that they've been pretty stoic. There was one juror who seemed to have a bit of a reaction when they were shown sealed photos. I believe it was about 2 days ago. These were freeze frames of Cassie and...
See, but that's not true. Sounds like it was only abuse when these women didn't get what they wanted. As long as they were feeling good, he was a lovely, great guy, but that's not true. She's already testified. When she tried to stop doing the freak-offs, he beat her. And you're going to hear this other person say the same thing. Other people, Daniel Phillips said the same thing. Israel Flores, that incident that happened in 2016 at the Intercontinental Hotel. Cassie was trying to leave in between sessions. He dragged her back. She was trying to leave. They had just had a freak off. She wanted to go to a premiere. He didn't want her to leave. That's force. He dragged her back, stomped her, kicked her. I mean, you saw it on camera, the unedited version. So no. And then he had someone buy her a whole bunch of gifts to try to make it up to her. What the fuck?
Sean Combs and an escort in an alleged freak-off still shots. So there was a little bit of a reaction there. But again, overall, the consensus also in the overflow room is just that people are shocked at a lot of this testimony, a lot of the evidence that's coming in. And it's tough. We are seeing, I guess, just like this side of Cassie that, unfortunately she's had to disclose to all of us.
They made her look like a lovesick hoe. That's what they did on Thursday and a little bit of Friday. They made her look like a lovesick hoe. She was jealous of Kim Porter because Sean with Tootsie Roll, would always spend the holidays with Kim and the kids. And then he started seeing this woman named Gina. She was jealous. She was nothing but a side piece. She was his play toy. That's what she was. His play toy.
To help get a conviction for Sean Holmes. And you really feel for her because she's remained so composed throughout, her cross-examination, her direct, the redirects. And she's 8.5 months pregnant. And we didn't see her lose her temper or just get, angry at all or frustrated. And I find that to be pretty incredible.
And we also heard this, we didn't, we saw the transcripts, but in court, they heard that audio recording of Cassie threatening one of the escorts who allegedly said he had video of a freak off. I think we've got the transcript here. She said, "It is my effing life and I will kill you, hide you. If you have it, put it up or I will kill you and he will kill you again." Like, what's the reaction to this? And where did this piece of audio come from?
So they're mixing that up with something else.
Well, let me clarify, because I think we're talking about two different things here. What you're talking about, this audio, this actually came from one of Cassie's devices that she gave to the government, and the defense got it. And she said,
Yep. And you know what? I would have, me personally, I would have put her on after she had the baby. But that's not what was worked out with her attorney. And like I told you, Sean's team, Tootsie Roll's team wanted her to wear some frumpy things so the jurors couldn't see how pregnant she was. Everybody knows she's pregnant. Hi, Ryan. Yep, everybody knows she's pregnant. He didn't want it seen. The first day she was in there, she wore this brown fitting outfit. Yesterday, she had on a blue pinstripe suit, but her pregnancy is pronounced. You can't miss it. This woman is about to give birth. How are you going to cover that up?
I will kill you right now. I will kill you twice. I will put you in the effing dirt. And she said, it's not going to be my hands. Someone else is going to do it. Blood won't be on my hands. And
think about what she said. Blood won't be on her hands. Of course it won't. That's the same shit Sean said about Kid Cuddy. And we're going to play that and we're going to hear. Yeah. So we're going to discuss that.
Again, I wrote this down word for word because it was so shocking. But allegedly, she was hosting a party in Atlantic City, and one of their mutual friends, they just called him by his first name, Sujit, told her that he had a video of her doing some explicit things. And she texted Sean Combs, and he said, "Don't let him out of your sight." And Cassie testified that she felt pressure from Combs to get this video, elicit something out of him. So when we heard this, it was pretty shocking. But concurrently, we also heard that there was an escort by the name of Jonathan Odie. She alleged that he picked up his phone during a freak off, and she told Sean Combs, and Sean Combs, we believe, paid him off, and he had to sign an NDA. And the reason
Odie said it when they picked him up, when he did that incident at Trump's place in Florida, that he had a device that he recorded. Yes. So all of this is coming into play now.
And we believe this is because this escort came out, I think it was last week, to the Daily Mail and a few other outlets, claiming this
years ago,
after this video was taken of him after another crime he committed in 2018 in Florida, and his interrogation was released. And I think at the time everyone thought he was crazy, but now it all makes sense.
Yeah.
I didn't think he was crazy. I don't think Allie Carter is crazy. She's starting to sound more and more like Jaguar Wright. But I don't think Allie is crazy. Some of the things is quite believable, but some things she says is like, wait a minute, what? Huh? What? But okay.
And on that one, we've been trying to confirm and double and triple confirm this all week long, just because of the implications here. But you just mentioned Jonathan Odie, and we know that there was a person with the same name who allegedly opened fire at the Trump Miami golf course back in 2018. At this point, NBC News, we still have not been able to conclusively confirm this is the same guy. We're hoping that comes out a little bit later in this trial. But this Odie from the shooting, at the time, you just talked about that interrogation. He seems to talk about Diddy, and online, like that possible connection is getting a ton of traction.
Because he wasn't lying. Even Cassie mentions Jonathan Odie in her testimony. That man told the truth all those years ago. No one believed him. Just like LB Shore told the truth all those years ago, only to come to find out the cops were on Diddy's payroll as well. Nothing was ever done about the sex trafficking, about the drugging. Nothing was ever done. And you can't tell me this man does not have bodies. You can't tell me that. He's too quick to say he's going to kill you. You've got the bodyguard who Justin looks just like that. Oh, he had an untimely death. Get the fuck out of here.
When do you think we may know conclusively in court? And what are people saying about all this?
Well, I believe it was day 2. Cassie was shown quite a few images of escorts that they had used, and we could also see them. And Jonathan Odie's picture popped up, and I recognized him immediately just from seeing him in the news a week before. And then we heard today that, the whole, I guess, the context behind what happened with him and why he allegedly got paid. But I feel like this, who knows? We don't have a witness list here, and it sounds like I don't want to say they're going out of order with the witnesses, but clearly they had Cassie first because she's very pregnant and due to scheduling. So who knows? But I know that we are going to hear from more escorts. That's just inevitable here.
Yeah, it's so fascinating that you said that, because this is something a lot of people have been talking about. It seems to be that the public is kind of seeing all of this out of order.
I'm going to hold that off for a minute. I want you to hear about Kid Cuddy, okay? I want you to hear about Kid Cuddy, because here's the thing that people have left out. Diddy is the one that introduced Cassie to Kid Cuddy. Okay? This is the man that he was going to kill.
They brought up the Kid Cuddy piece. This is where I feel like they're going to try to get to the arsoning. She started dating Kid Cuddy, I think, in about 2011. She didn't tell Diddy. However, they were at a freak-off. Diddy went through her phone, and I guess she was and seen an email where she was.
He's also in court every day.
She needed to get her toiletries or whatever. Once Diddy realized that she had been talking to Kid Cuddy, he went and got a wine bottle opener and lunged at her face to try to like stab her eyes out. He didn't get her. She said she had to get out of there because Diddy had found out about Kid Cuddy. But at the same time, she was happy because that was another freak off she was able to get out of. You see? So she was always ready. So even if men try to kill me, I'm just so happy because I don't have to be freaked out tonight.
So you see, even though sometimes she wanted to do the freak offs, that's the way she would get with him and be close to him. Other times, she doesn't want to do it. Okay? So it's like being caught between a rock and a hard place. Yes, she did them willingly at first, but he kept drugging her up. And the drug that she really couldn't take was the ketamine, because it made her sick. And you're going to hear about her medical stuff.
Because I'm so tired of I've got sores in my mouth, my bleeding is burning, and you don't care. And so,
hi, Bombs Crafting with
people
Amanda.
in the chat. Let's get to 20K. If you haven't done so, my name is Armand Wiggins. We're coming to Diddy trial live from New York City. Go ahead and hit that like button.
Armand looks good right now.
So you guys do not miss the moment when we go live and break down the case, because this is the best channel for Diddy updates, okay? And if you're just feeling so free and kind, please donate to our
okay, Armand.
Okay, what is there, and it is helping us cover the case in New York. All right, so boom, let me get to it. So she had to get out of there because she was dating Kid Cuddy, but that was another freak off she got out of. So Kid Cuddy came and picked her up in the middle of the street and took her back.
Nope, she broke up with Kid Cuddy, so Sean Tootsie Roll wouldn't hurt him. That's why she never told her mother what was going on, even though she did say it was about her career and her family. But she broke up with Kid Cuddy because the Tootsie Roll threatened to K him.
Kid Cuddy picked her up from the middle of the street and took her back to his house in the hills. So she was kicking it with Kid Cuddy. They was doing their thing or whatever. But she eventually went back to Diddy.
See, there we go. She goes back.
They said Diddy wanted to just talk. And the prosecution said, so well, why did you go back to Diddy's house? She was like, well, it's been 10 years. You can't just like get over stuff like that. Like, you know what I mean? We were together for a long time. Well, no, that's not what she said. She said she just went back because Diddy wanted to talk. She said that the 10-year thing for something else. So she said she went back to Diddy's house because Diddy said he wanted to talk. So in the talk, Diddy threatened to expose Cassie and hurt Kid Cuddy.
Hi, Chantel.
As she was leaving, he had cocked back and kicked her in the motherfucking back. Then they pulled up the picture. So this is where Cassie has, you probably won't be able to tell, but this is during the time where Cassie had the shaved head and it was like blue. Let me see, Cassie, shaved head. So these pictures are not going to be online. But what you can't see is
they showed the picture of her back.
Head, she's got bruises all down her back, and her head was shaved.
Hey, Bambi.
So he kicked her. They pulled up the picture. The bruise was this big on her back.
It was huge.
Kicked her right in her back. I'm like, damn. I was feeling bad for the girl. I'm like, are you serious? Are you serious? And then you look, and I'm looking at Diddy. Mind you, the black lady sitting there like this. One of the jurors. Diddy over there like, yo. And I'm going to be honest with you. Diddy and his team, I don't know what they're going to do. This is not feeling good. This is not looking good. I'm going to be honest with you. And I'm not feeling good about that, because whether they can prove all of this racketeering and it was prostitution and all that girl was being tortured. She was like a slave. And then he was just taking his frustrations out on her, just beating her for no reason. But the whole thing is, we can't forget, she was signed to him. And
She was his property.
To get a career.
So I want you to hear about her medical stuff. And then I'm going to get back to this. Here we go.
Then we got into the medical. This is where it got crazy. She said she would do so much drugs with Diddy, he would have her so drugged up that she would begin to get gastrointestinal issues because she would just be high every week on cocaine, Molly, ecstasy, ketamine, GHB, or G4HB, whatever that is. I don't even know what that is.
It was the Tootsie mixed with some other shit.
She said she would be in so much pain. Then she said, for a lot of the freak-offs, she would have a UTI, and she would tell Diddy that she's burning. She said she'd be in there burning in her cooter, hurting. She would get back-to-back UTIs, infections.
Disgusting.
And it would be painful. And they would still do the freak-offs with her hurting and burning with the UTI.
Yep, that's true, Wendy.
Painful. She would have a kit of cranberry pills, cranberry juice. It would burn while she was having. It was very painful.
But she still did it.
And then, so this is what got me. So Diddy would have her go to the studio. And so she was doing her thing.
I want you to listen to this.
The studio, doing her thing, working. And she was like, I'm just really, really tired. He's like, how you feeling? We had a long night. We're getting back to live, getting ourselves back together. And then she's like, I'm tired. I got to lay these vocals down. And he's like, well, how's the vocals going? And she's like, well, the vocals are good, but I just have these sores in my mouth. In the courtroom, you can...
Sores in her mouth. Okay? Sores. Disgusting.
The black lady, she talking about some... But she got to keep it together. And I'm thinking, sores? Then you see white people tense up because they think it's sores. And I'm thinking, we finna sores? I almost pooed it. I'm thinking, I had to curl my stomach. Was thinking sores. I had to readjust myself. What kind of... She said she would have nothing but a bunch of sores all in her mouth, just sores. And I'm thinking, she said, yes, and I have a UTI. And he said, what? Are you okay? These are text message. And guess what she said? Yes, we just do a lot of dick. And I'm like, what?
There you go.
And you see Diddy doing this. So she said, and so the prosecution brought her back and said, well, hold on. Let's get back to the sores in your mouth. And she sat there on that stand and she said, I have a lot of sores in my mouth because I'm putting a lot of dicks in my mouth and lube and other foreign objects in my mouth from the freak-offs.
Did we hear that? She has a lot of sores in her mouth because she's putting a lot of dicks in her mouth and the lubes and foreign objects in her mouth.
So she would frequently, along with the UTIs, the whole mouth of the would be full of sores. Sores. Canker sores. Sores.
I love when he did
that.
that.
To go and have to drop vocals, and she can't even drop the vocals because she got sores in her mouth. From, what did she say? From doing a lot of dick. All while.
And Wendy, that is true. It was okay because she was getting studio time. She thought he was going to be the end all, the be all, but you were just a toy to him. You were just a toy. That's it.
Her Uchi is burning from the UTI. I was done there. I was through when they went there. And I'm looking over at the people looking at me, and then you hear somebody behind me talking something. I was over there gagging. That was so sad. I'm not even gonna lie. That was sad. That was a lot. She said, it's a lot of party we do, but I'm good. Diddy texts back, we need you to go to the hospital. She said she felt drained. She felt tired. After every freak off, she felt gross.
No, you're fine. When you do, girl, say what you have to say.
And then he took her to the club in New York.
Took her to a sex
Los
club.
Angeles. Diddy trained her and started talking to her into, talked about swapping partners and swinging.
You heard that. Diddy trained her. Trained her. They were going to sex clubs.
Sometimes they bring the escorts to the club with Diddy. And one of the main escorts they brought, Jules brought his wife. Now they asked, they said, so did you and Jules ever have an intimate relationship? She was like, no, not like that. But what it gave me about Jules, it felt like she still talked to Jules. Her and Jules are still cool. But Jules is just her friend. But she says she Jules. But in the clubs or escorting. But she said that she Jules because she felt safe. It felt like a safe space when she with Jules. I don't think that she's attracted to him at all. But it was given this is a safer space for me and I feel comfortable here. She's vehemently denying being into clubs. Okay? She says she never wanted an open relationship. She always wanted to just be with Diddy. Then she's doing this whole time, she's like doing like awkward laughs like and like pauses and like awkward laughs. Cassie said he was always so scary. She never wanted to push the issue because she didn't know. She always would get high. She said she would always have to do drugs because she didn't know how to be sober. Then I got beat the brakes off of her. They showed another picture because she had went to the Abbey with her homegirls because all the gay boys be at the Abbey. This was a few years ago. They go to the Abbey. It's about 2015. And she was supposed to go to Canada for the OVO Fest, but she went to the Abbey, and when he came to her house, she wasn't packing because she was drunk and hanging out. And so, because she didn't do what he said, he kicked the door in, flung her across the bed. She hit her. You know them beds where the bed where the end of the bed, like the actual board, like the edge of the bed, okay? She hit her head and gashed the whole thing open, squirting out blood. That was disgusting. Beat her down, and the next day she had to get on a flight. She sent him a picture and said, so you can remember this. But cuts and gashes all on her face. She said, then he said, wow, you just don't stop. That's what Diddy said. Mind you, she's asleep. She's asleep, and he said, you just don't stop. You just gonna keep going. This after she sent him a text message and a gash in her face of what he did to her.
And they showed that.
You want to keep provoking me. You want to keep going. And she said, man, dude, just apologize to me. Like, I'm sending you this so you don't forget. But he took that as like, oh, she's taunting me. She just don't get it. She just don't get it. But they said, well, why did you send him the picture? He knows what you look like. She said, because I wanted him to remember what he did to me. I wanted him to remember exactly what he did to me. And his response was, like, you gaslighting me all of a sudden. Like, don't play with me.
So that's what he said after he did that. I'm going to play this one more, then I'm going to go back to this.
Montana with the swoop. She had a whole black eye and a gash. She was on GHB, and she was freaked out in the shower one time in the Hamptons. After she left OVO, she was freaked out in the Hamptons because she was so high. They was doing a freak off in the Hamptons, and everybody was scared because they were like, well, why is she tripping out? Why is she tripping out like this? Because she had she had a panic attack because she would have to take so much opioids because every time she would be with Diddy, they would have to do a freak off. And the way that she would talk about it, she was like, we probably did a freak off. It was like, I was like, damn, is that all y'all do? It was like, anytime they had intimacy, it would have to be this production of a freak off. Then they said, well, have you ever had like, like, have you have any residual scars or anything from? She said, I have this gash in the side of my face from that night. I just cover it with a lot of makeup. I showed you guys the red carpet where she got into that, where he hit her there. I showed you where Diddy pulled up the freak off video. I told you about the freak off videos where people around. She felt trapped. very fragile. He would tell her if she talked to anybody else, she did anything, he would expose her. He had been blackmailing her and threatening her to embarrass her.
So that's the coercion. Now she has taken, and I saw the question, Wendy, at what point is anything her responsibility? She did take a lot of responsibility for a lot of this because, she said, but in her, well, I'm not going to say defense. She said that was her way of being with him. So you were willing to do anything just to be with this man. You were willing to let him beat the brakes off you. You've got sores in your mouth. You've got fucking UTIs, whatever, UI, whatever the hell it is. You would rather suffer. And you know that you were never going to be his wife. He has said over and over again, Kim Porter was his soulmate. So when him and Kim, even seeing you, he started seeing this other chick named Gina. You were never going to be his number one. You were his toy. You were his arm candy. That's it. Kim Porter didn't want to have that type of relationship with him anymore. Jesus.
When Cassie was talking about leaving, and Diddy was very controlling. And then the son, when she would be like, when I would want to leave, I couldn't leave. He was very controlling. He was very mean. Then I'm looking at Justin and the kids. Which one is it? The Christian? Whatever one that looks at him looks like him.
Yeah. Okay, I get it now. I get it.
He kind of looked at his dad, like at his brother. It was kind of like, oh, she ain't lying.
See?
But not like that, but kind of like.
So the sons were there.
But it just was that same thing. And he kind of did that look like, so I don't know if that is, this ain't good because Diddy is going through it, or she ain't lying. But then through all of this, Diddy is sitting there like this. He doing these.
He's rubbing his face.
He jumping back. You could tell that he was nervous today. I got here. Cassie said, listen, I was scared. And I was in love. I think she was just scared and in love. And I wrote, Diddy is visibly uncomfortable, pushed back in his chair, seems to be irritated. He was so irritated.
I know he wanted to be, you know what?
They showed about
4 different people that I watched said the same thing. He was irritated. I said he was probably sitting there thinking, if I can get my hands on this bitch, I will kill her. And I'm telling you, that's what he was thinking.
4 different pictures of her being beat up. Vacation times where she was beat up. Red carpet where she was beat down. Just like she was always getting her. They talked about a time in the car where he just stomped her out in the car. Stomped her out in the car with the whip.
And Roger Bond, I posted that video. He said the same thing Cassie said. He was the one that went and got her. She wasn't lying. And I know Roger Bond is going to be in that courtroom too. You can't tell me Roger Bond is not going to testify.
Windows down. Then they talked about a time where he just kicked her in the back because she went home. Well, that's probably, we get into it. It was always a problem if she didn't want to get high or do something. He was always a concern if she didn't want to get high or if she didn't want to do a freak off. It would be a problem because it was every week. She didn't want to do that every week, she said. They had a whole text thread of communication of trying to get escorts. It got to the point where they were negotiating with escorts and how they were going to bring the escorts in and what escorts they was going to bring in. Then Diddy said, you know what? This escort, it was one that couldn't work at this time. It was one that could work at this time. So Diddy said, you know what? This is what we'll do. We'll have Jake come at 10, and then we'll just get Jules at 1. So Jake would come for the first session, and then Jules would come for the second session. So then Cassie would have to get ready to go all night with 2 different men on the freak off.
Boy, so that's a lot of lube.
So then she would have to pop a valley. They call it a valley. The driver would then bring the Valium for her to pop the Valium. They said, then the next day she just sent them a heartfelt message. Had nothing to do with freak offs. She was just like, it was Father's Day. It was something along the lines like, I hope that we can one day have a kid and, he'd be as great as you and a kid of our own. And
you hear this shit. You wanted to have a kid with this man. that had you participating in freak offs, beating your ass, and you want to have a kid with this psychopath. They said he beat Kim like that for a while too. He did. He did that to Kim as well.
I appreciate everything that you've done for me, and I love you, and something very nice and heartfelt. And they were like, well, why did you send that? She said, I loved him, and it was Father's Day. I'm like, wow, she really loved that man. She really loved that man. And then there was an email that they had rolled up, and it said, I feel like you're treating me like Ike Turner. I said, what do you mean? She just was getting beat every day. So what the prosecution was doing,
he stopped beating Kim because he started beating Cassie.
And she was being forced for prostitution, or at least hiring escorts. So then they denied the 10 pages of text messages that they were trying to do. So then the defense tried to, because they were showing a lot of text message threads. So they were trying to, find some incriminated threads against Cassie, but it just wasn't making any sense. So long story short, the court was like, we're not allowing these text messages into the trial right now, into the case right now. These are denied. Diddy was visibly upset about that. Was pissed.
But then the judge thought about it.
I told you guys what the lawyer was saying, okay. What else? They went over a lot of the employees.
So they were talking about, and then, oh God. So they actually discussed the French Montana situation. They discussed her Jamaica, with the black eye in Jamaica. They discussed the knife that was wedged in between her door because Diddy was always showing up at her house unannounced. And then she moved and wouldn't tell him where she was living at. She said he was visibly upset because she didn't let him know where she was staying. So everybody was thinking that Diddy was paying for all of this stuff. Cassie flat out told him, she goes, I don't need your money. I can pay for my own stuff. So she moved. Diddy had no idea where she was at. So then when he found out she was dating Alex, he had paid Alex to be his personal trainer and Cassie's personal trainer. He beat her ass and told her that he wanted his money back because he had paid for Alex to be his personal trainer and her personal trainer. He wanted the money back for the fact that he had already paid for Alex. My sister works DV, and people would be horrified at the story she would tell me. Oh my God, Marty. Good morning, Gwen. I think people need to remember that she was a young woman in her early 20s and bribed easily. Another district. Yeah, but there are some things. Okay. You knew you had the wherewithal to lie to your mom about what was going on. Even though you said if your mom knew, she would do everything that she could to get you out of there. But you said that you knew that Sean would try to hurt your mother, especially after he blew up Cuddy's car and act like he never saw a car, especially saying that he would have him killed and he wouldn't even be in the country. I get all of that. Girl, I get New York was his playground. I get all of that. And everybody keeps saying, well, she should have left. She should have did this. She should have did that. No, not from what I'm hearing. I'm hearing someone who was seriously in love, someone that would do anything for a man that didn't give a fuck about her. Hi, Aesop's. That's what I'm hearing. And they really did, on the cross they did late Thursday. They actually made her look like she was a lovesick hoe. They did. Then the prosecution came back in and they had to, they had to redirect some stuff. So let's finish listening.
Obviously, she is the star witness, and she is the one that we remember from that attack that happened at the Intercontinental that was caught on camera.
People don't realize Cassie is not the only witness. So they're saying this case is contingent upon Cassie. No, it's not. She's a witness, yes, but it's not all about Cassie. This is not about domestic violence. It's about coercion. It's about prostitution. It's about trafficking. That's what it's about. Forced labor, racketeering, RICO. I want to know who are the other co-defendants. And from what I was hearing on Thursday and Friday, it sounds like Cassie is a co-defendant and she made a deal. Exactly. It sounds like Cassie is another co-defendant. Now, his personal assistant, the one that ran everything, what's her name? Catherine or whatever. I want to know if she's going to testify, because I'm telling you, she is part of a RICO act as well. She was arranging shit. She was arranging the drugs. She was a part of that as well. So all these people have made all of these deals. To me, Cassie made a deal because she is part of that racketeering, because you were making arrangements too. You were getting these escorts. You were bringing people in. So to me, it sounds like she was a defendant as well. I don't know if Jay-Z is going to testify. They're not saying who's testifying. They're not. We just heard that Dawn testified after Cassie yesterday. They're not giving out a witness list at all. I think maybe the defense has it, and if they leak it, they're going to be in trouble.
Camera, and yet the question is, like, are they doing this because she is pregnant and they kind of have to get her on and off the stand as quickly as possible, and the sequence of events is going to be scattered, or did they start with her first because she lays the groundwork?
She lays the groundwork. She's pregnant. But again, Cassie is a part of that racketeering as well. Listen to the testimony she's given these last 3 days. She was a big part of it. So that's a co-defendant that made a deal. People may not like to hear it, but it's the truth.
For everything, being close to the courtroom there, what is your sense? Is this out of order because of the pregnancy, or is she the star witness and everything is going to kind of trickle down from her?
You know, I don't think she's necessarily the star witness, because I'm not sure her testimony alone is going to get a conviction on all of these federal crimes. I think a lot of it was... Okay, somebody just asked if a RICO act is easy to... Okay, so what a RICO act is, it really focuses on racketeering, anything that's illegal, engaging in illegal activities. Okay, so it can be drugs, it can be corporate scandals. Let me see. For Sean, they're looking at a pattern over a 10-year period, and they have it. He's had a pattern of racketeering. He's had a pattern of blackmail. They've got the videos. He's got a pattern of doing bribes. He's got a pattern of intimidation. He's got a pattern. He's committed arson. He blew up Kid Cudi's car. He has extortion, meaning you're blackmailing people, okay? The only thing he's missing here is the homicide, which I'm sure he has some bodies, okay? There's nothing, everything in me tells me he has everything to do with Biggie and Tupac. He had everything to do with that bodyguard being killed, his untimely death. So, it's a criminal organization, and he was part of criminal activities. He was part of it. He orchestrated it, him and his Bad Boy Entertainment group. So let's go. Foundation and just laying it out here that, she was allegedly coerced here, and she was a victim of his. But I personally think that we're going to see a lot more when his staff testifies, his bodyguard.
Stands for Racketeer, Influence, and Corrupt Organization. That's what RICO is. Racketeer, Influence, and Corrupt Organization. That's what Sean Diddy had going on.
his assistants, the people that worked for him. So the people that allegedly organized these sex crimes and some of these criminal.
Here's the official definition: criminal RICO. A person must engage in a pattern of racketeering activity connected to an enterprise. The law defines 35 offenses as constituting racketeering, including gambling, murder, kidnapping, arson, drug dealing, bribery, mail and wire fraud, forced labor. All of this is in. Now, he's committed a lot of these except for the murder. Okay. They don't have that in there as of yet. Okay. That's not there. But he's got criminal RICO charges.
Activity, but it's interesting as well because as you're listening to a lot of this testimony and they're being questioned by the.
And you know what? I'm sorry, I keep interrupting this. I believe he was a part. I do believe he has something to do with Jamie Foxx. I believe he has something.
And whatever she's going to say, the prosecution is going to turn around and have an answer for it. So, for example, you heard something about, did you cancel your concert, your tour because of the $20 million? No, and a great response and a powerful one. It was almost set up wrongly for the defense was, no, I would have done that anyway to get rid of these freak-offs and never have to do them. That's some powerful things to say. But by default, in terms of that organization, they had to get her on the stand. You do wonder if they came out a little bit too strong because everything else may get a little mundane, if that's even an appropriate term here. But they had to come out with that evidence because.
Okay, can you guys hear me? I lost my chat for a minute. Okay. Yeah, it's back. It told me that it was trying to reconnect the chat. Okay, we're back.
Timing, and it's very powerful to captivate, to set the stage and the foundation. But did they really poke the holes in her?
Okay, something went wrong with my restream. So I see myself on the screen. I see you guys, but it's telling me that I lost connection to my chat and it's trying to connect. Oh, there we go.
Meaning the defense didn't poke the holes they needed.
And Kristen, again,
so, for example, you heard something about, did you cancel your concert, your tour because of the $20 million? No, and a great response and a powerful one. It was almost set up wrongly for the defense was, no, I would have done that anyway to get rid of these freak-offs and never have to do them. That's some powerful things to say. But by default, in terms of that organization, they had to get her on the stand. You do wonder if they came out a little bit too strong because everything else may get a little mundane, if that's even an appropriate term here, but they had to come out with that evidence because of the timing, and it's very powerful to captivate, to set the stage and the foundation. But did they really poke the holes in her that they needed to? This isn't 1980s or 1950s where, all of a sudden you said a woman came back and she on. Mile 1 may be different than mile 2 and mile 7. I don't think they did the job they needed to do, but there's more ahead, meaning the defense didn't poke the holes they needed.
Okay, so you heard that. The defense did not poke the holes they needed in Cassie's. They did. They hit some great ones, but they didn't when it comes to the coercion. When it came to the prostitution and the trafficking, they missed the mark on that. They missed the mark on that one.
And Kristen, again, I mean, so much of this is about sex trafficking, and this is about racketeering, and yet a lot of focus over the last couple of days has been about this rape allegation that Cassie made. There's some discrepancies there. Do you think that like is a tangent here, or are we going to hear more about
after this goes off?
We may hear more about it, but I do think it is a tangent. Just like Jeremy said, the interesting thing about that 2018 rape claim is that is exactly what was the core of the civil case. And that's
so the 2018 rape situation. She said they went out, he wanted to talk, he brought her home, he followed her in the house, he raped her on the living room floor. After he came in her, he got up and left. Then they went, she was at some party, they were hanging out talking, and then they had consensual sex. Okay? And at the time, she was dating her husband, Alex, with his fine ass self. Fine. Here we go.
Really what broke open the broader federal case that we're here today to see. And I think one of the things that's really interesting here is what the defense is doing is what we often see in these types of cases involving these powerful men. They're coming through every message, as Jeremy was talking about, every post-incident interaction to really suggest that Cassie was a willing participant, but what this ignores is the trauma and the coercion. Survivors often stay in contact with their abusers due to fear, due to psychological dependency, or even hope or change. And the real legal question here is, was consent freely given? Or was it coerced through power, through manipulation, through fear?
It was coerced through power, manipulation, and fear. And that's what it was.
And I couldn't agree more with Jeremy in that the defense, they had some great punches, but they didn't poke the holes that they needed to through Cassie.
Mm-hmm. And I'm so glad you brought up the trauma of all this. We have a therapist that we're going to be talking to right after this, because that is a very important conversation. Jeremy, I do want to ask you today about seeing Combs all day, very involved with his legal teams, passing notes,
Girl.
talking to them during cross-examination.
I noticed you changed your name the other day. I was cracking up. Fucking crazy watcher. Watcher, I thought you were talking about that Joe lady. And I'm sorry. I'm not up on everything that's going on. But thank you for taking the time to explain who you were talking about, because I had no idea. But thank you.
To the point that other people could hear him. Like, is that unusual?
Yep, and the promise of being a famous
Every
singer.
case is unique, but it's certainly not atypical.
Even with that badass performance she did at the BET Awards, okay? She had a badass performance, but she thought as long as he was backing her, she was going to become this famous singer, okay? Remember, she was around during the time of, oh my God, not Aaliyah. Oh my God, I'm trying to think of those other two girls. But, you know, she was coming up during that era.
You know, I had a trial recently where a guy had a gun in a car and he wanted me to pick a particular juror. I adamantly did not want to. The judge actually got involved to try to explain why it was a bad juror, although not exactly, because he can't do that. You know, people who are accused of crimes, they say things and they want things their way and they want to take a stand and they want their point across. That doesn't mean it's right. I don't tell my physician how to take care of my body, my surgeon on what to do next. I may have input because I know what happened to me. But in that courtroom, people act ways they're not normally going to act. But in terms of Sean Combs, remember, he's a guy who was always in control. And the man who's in control wants you to do it the way he wants you to do it, but it doesn't mean it's going to be right.
Yeah, I can't imagine having a client that at one point was a billionaire. Kristen, like you have the experience
her
of
jealousy of Kim Porter, her jealousy of this woman Gina, her jealousy. She wanted to be number one. She was never, ever going to be number one in Sean's eyes. That's why she wanted to have a baby. She wanted to be treated because when Kim, I'm telling you, if you look at the time, he used to do that shit to Kim. And then those kids got older. You started taking out his frustrations on her. Now they're saying Gina is the third witness. Again, they said they found her. Then they said, no, they have no idea where she's at. They're saying Gina is supposed to be victim number 3. So Lil Miami, I told you, was subpoenaed. She was part of that RICO shit too. Let's see if she made a deal.
Prosecuting Bill Cosby, if I understand this correctly. Like, if you can give me a little bit of context here, like, does this trial correlate to that one? Are there similarities that are very striking to you?
Absolutely. You know, in this case, we see very powerful men, Bill Cosby, Sean Puffy Combs, accused of...
Harvey Weinstein. He's been in court this week as well. He's across the street at the state courthouse. Harvey Weinstein. So when we are hearing, you know, the whoop, 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 and you see the police van, they're bringing Harvey Weinstein to court. He was in court.
Exploiting that power over time, using that status, using that money, using that manipulation to control and silence women, right? That's exactly what we saw with Bill Cosby. Andrea Constand reported shortly after she was assaulted. And the legal strategy we used in that particular case was we brought in corroborating witnesses. We showed that pattern of that calculated behavior. And what we had to do was we had to dismantle the idea of consent when there's that power imbalance. And that is exactly correlated and what we see in this particular case. In this Diddy case, we are seeing prosecutors really do the same thing. They're using multiple voices to illustrate that narrative, right?
I'm sorry. Harvey Weinstein is being retried. I forgot to say that.
They're using Cassie and talking about the 2018 rape, but then they're also going throughout to show how even though they were in a quote unquote relationship, it was really defined by inappropriate coercion, power manipulation, and rape. They're also bringing in that hotel manager, the male
Christian. I think, Christian King. The one that looks just like him, he's got 2 lawsuits against him for R as well. Justin, Was it Justin that did the shooting at the studio in LA? And they said it was a drive-by when it wasn't. I'm waiting to see what's going to happen with those boys, because Christian wants to be just like his daddy. He can't sing. He has no talent, nothing. He wants to be just like his daddy. He looks just like his daddy.
Escort and Dawn Rashad as well, to build out that narrative of predation. And let's not forget the infamous surveillance video, which also shows how he beat her up. So not only is the jury able to hear it and visualize it through witness testimony, but they're also able to see it. So in both of those cases, I can see the prosecutors doing exactly what we did.
It's the Me Too movement. Me Too, Me Too. Happen to me. Smokey Robinson right now. 4 women. Let's see how many more come forward.
The Cosby case, which was to show through corroborating witnesses that narrative, that dynamic, that imbalance, to show that, in fact, there absolutely was no consent.
Yeah, a glimpse at what we may see going forward. Jeremy Saland and Kristen Gibbons-Fedden, thank you so much for all of that analysis. And turning now to, after 18 hours of testimony, Cassie Ventura is off the stand. And in those 18 hours...
Harvey Weinstein's conviction was overturned. For one thing, he looked horrible too. His retrial started late April. Okay, so this is his 3rd trial in 5 years. 3rd trial in 5 years. So he's being retried.
We have heard about a relationship that lasted over a decade. Quick recap here. Cassie and Sean Diddy Combs reportedly started dating in 2007 after she became the...
Okay. So let's talk about Harvey real quick. So Harvey was convicted, right? So a court of appeals overturned his conviction in New York. Okay. That was last April. So he was then indicted on new sexual assault charges. Okay. So it was overturned and then he was re-indicted.
Face of the rapper's fashion label, Sean John. The next few years, the couple would start appearing at public events, go on trips together. There were rumors of both breakups and an engagement. This trial. Therapist Sanette Damon, Sanette, thank you so much for being with us. Look, like it's so quick that we see the rest of us, society, people at home that don't have the big picture, like judging from the couch what's going on here. But from a therapist's eyes, how do you see this trial?
Welcome.
What I'm seeing is an example of 2 really wounded people. And with the situation with Cassie, I mean, it sounds like this was a 19-year-old girl who fell in love with a 37-year-old man. It's like close to 20 years difference.
What's wrong with her eyes?
They met in the late 90s, early 2000s, is my understanding.
Hold on.
And
what's wrong with her eyes? Is it just me? Yeah, Smokey, what is he, 82, 83? He and my mom are the same age.
She was with him for a very long time. So you think about like coercive control, a young girl. I'm sure all of us know people that are about 19, 18 years old, where they're at psychologically. And we know men that are in their 40s where they're at psychologically. And so I do kind of start there. Like, what was at the beginning of this relationship? Where were these 2 developmentally? And I'm sure he must have had some kind of wounds or traumas to even be in this.
Okay, let me just say this. Women, your frontal lobe isn't really fully developed until you're 25 years old. Her eyes are funny. I can't. I'm just like, what's wrong with her eyes?
Position in the first place.
We've all seen that video of what happened at the Intercontinental Hotel. Like, can you talk a little bit about the trauma and how that may impact people's ability to leave a relationship or people's inability to leave a relationship or keep coming back? Can you unpack that for us?
So there's different ways that this can go down. If you look at domestic violence, there's typically like a pattern of behavior that happens where there's a Jekyll and Hyde kindness that happens, and then abuse that happens back and forth, and it can feel really addictive when you're in a relationship like that. You're constantly seeking things to get to that good place again for the person who's taking the brunt of the abuse, right? And then for the person who's abusing, there's also an element of like pain and distress that happens.
Yeah, 25.
But they're not risking they're not going to die from getting beaten, right? So there's different dynamics going on at play in a situation like this. When I have a client who survived abuse, I typically start with looking at their experience as a whole, and then trying to figure out how to help them ground and navigate that trauma and come back into the present and find happier, healthier.
Okay, so it says the frontal lobe of the region of the brain responsible for executive functions continues to develop throughout childhood and adolescence. In women, the frontal lobe typically reaches full maturity around mid-20s, between the ages of 21 and 25.
Your situations. I don't treat people who.
But it says it's important to note that individual development can vary, and factors such as genetics, environment, and lifestyle can influence the timing of frontal lobe maturity. Additionally, the brain continues to develop and refine itself throughout adulthood.
Are criminals in different ways. Not to say that he's a criminal outright, but we did see him almost beat this woman. You know, he grabbed her by the hair and all of that. If someone were to come to me with those presenting issues, I would likely do like a Harris psychopathy assessment and see just kind of where they're at with their empathy, and then redirect them to something like dialectical behavior therapy.
And real quick, there is a blast radius anytime something like this happens to so many other people involved. You know, people have been talking about how Cassie's now husband has been sitting there supporting her through this trial. What that family is living through. Sean Combs' family is there.
The prefrontal cortex typically develops around the age of 25, but some studies suggest it may continue developing until 30. God damn. That's why women need to run the damn country. Shit.
They're in attendance as well. All of those family members, both sides are affected here. Like, what is the path forward if somebody's been impacted by something like this?
So the path forward would be different for everyone involved, right? Because there's the vicarious trauma of the people around. There's us just watching this, the sociological trauma of the reality that women are treated like this all the time. It's totally normalized. You look at what was in the media when these two met, started dating, the types of films, documentaries that were popular, pimps up, hose down, all of that, right? And then we come into the present.
Bullshit. Let me just say this. Fuck this bullshit, okay? Diddy is just like his daddy, okay? Daddy was a drug dealer in Harlem. Drug dealer. He was snitching to the cops, and they found him shot up in his car. They killed him. Okay? They killed him. He's just like his daddy. When he found out who his daddy was, he said he never wanted to be like his daddy, but it's in his genetics. His mother is a piece of shit as well. She knew what the dad was doing. Diddy's friend said that his mother would beat him mercilessly if he didn't do what she wanted him to do. So he grew up in that environment. Just like Chris Brown saw his daddy beat the shit out of his mother. He, in turn, did the same shit. Diddy is a piece of shit. He's a monster. He's just kicked it up a couple of notches. That's it.
We're here how many years later?
Yep, exactly, Ryan.
Like 20, 25, post-Me Too movement. This is a very different reality than when these two met. And we're all trying to make sense of where we're at today, and as a social group, right? As a community, as people. And then individually, when you've lived through these traumas and you see this, you get re-triggered by your own experiences and memories. And
her again.
And it's a lot of healing that needs to take place. Hopefully, both of these people and everyone around them find some type of post-traumatic growth. They go in there and
he didn't stop when he was arrested in New York. When the feds took him in, Homeland Security, he had drugs in a hotel room, excuse me, and a woman. He was getting ready to do another freak off. He didn't stop. he won't be, he stopped now. His ass is locked the fuck down. He won't change. He went to rehab. Did you guys know Diddy went to rehab too? He went to rehab. It's in him to be a monster. He has nothing behind his eyes. I never liked that damn man. Never liked him.
They do to work to heal. And as a society, we look at this. We look at a pregnant woman, an African-American pregnant woman, 8 months pregnant.
Why does she have to be African-American? Why can't she just be a pregnant woman? Why you have to stress she's African-American? She's a pregnant woman, period. That's it. She's pregnant.
On the stand talking about this, like, this is a real risk to her. She's being very brave, trying to help.
Yeah, that's true. Because African-American women have a higher rate of death when they're giving birth. Yep, that's true. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to yell at you, sweetie. I didn't mean to do that. I'm sorry. Okay.
Everyone, right? Help women in
I didn't mean
general.
to yell at her.
I hope something changes for us.
It sure does, and I'm glad you brought up the historical perspective, because we are living in a very different time, and sometimes it takes a while to see that, but really appreciate it.
Anyway, that's it about that. I'm trying to think if there's any more highlights that happened in this trial with the prosecution and the defense. The defense didn't get what they really wanted. Now everybody was going, oh, if that's all they have, he's gonna walk. No, that's not all they have. That's why the judge says 6 to 8 weeks. The judge has seen the evidence. Yep. I'm sorry, Ryan. Only thing I heard was an African. I'm sorry. That's the only thing I heard. You have to look. That's the only thing I heard. So, now everybody knows that Debbie has been really, really busy. And tomorrow morning, she and I are going to come live. I'm trying to give her a break on Saturdays because she's not been having, the last couple of weeks have been really, really rough for her. So I'm trying to give her a break on Saturdays, and we're going to cover stuff on Sunday because I know that she's been going live with Jamal. So I just want to give her a little break. But I want to talk to you guys real quick about Frauditor. Okay. Frauditor Reaper. She was part of, I don't know, should we say awareness? She's bringing awareness to Lisa, and she's making all this money off of Lisa. Villain went out and said, I put it on my, in my shorts, that she was getting paid to put out misinformation, so to say, about Lisa. Okay. So we're gonna, I'm trying to think if is there anything that happened in court that you guys wanted to discuss? I wanted to bring up the things that stood out to me. And I'm not sure if you guys have things that stood out to you or things that you heard that was going on, because I'll be more than happy to go over it. Trust me, I've been listening, I've been reading, I've been going through a lot of stuff. So let me just tell you about Frauditor. She built her platform on Lisa. She got her followers, the followers she have, because her affiliation with Villain. Okay. This woman's background, she has been lying and lying and lying. And now my song is When the Truth Comes Out. Here we go.
Homeless by choice, with her autistic son and 2 cats to live down the street from her murdering man in Conlin maximum security.
Oh, wait, you're not in that state, though.
Yes, I'm in Texas.
Oh, wow, because I'm moving there next month. Yeah, I'm moving down near Conley and McConnell unit, like in between.
That's what I'm showing right now.
It's a nice area.
Oh,
down
really?
there.
That's what I'm playing right
Homeless
now.
by choice, to see a man behind glass once a week, getting called out. An uninformed.
So the man that she says she's married to, she's not married to him at all. Okay? She's not married. That's her fiance. So you moved your son, your autistic son, to Texas to be homeless so you can be close to a murderer. Yeah, let's listen.
Soul about to get ripped off. Bare minimum kids must have food, basic care, education, shelter. Always an issue. 5 confirmed evictions. A 6th on YT Live for sympathy. Here, say her marriage license. Really non-existent. is confidential because of her daughter.
Bullshit. Bullshit. No marriage license is confidential. It's all fucking public information. Again, I don't like her. Never did. I remember Chantel used to tell me oh no, she's good. It was just something about her that didn't sit well with me. And I'm going to say it here. I'm going to say it now. I don't like Boss Lady. I don't like WTF. I think they're both trash. I think they're both scums. That's how I feel about them. I don't jump on a bandwagon because everybody's going, oh, she's doing this. Fuck that. And every time I would ask Frauditor for proof, she always ignored it.
I wonder why. A text from her explaining the kind of mother she is. You're the reason I dropped out, used drugs, and saw no future. I quite literally despise you.
Me a charity application as well because I don't have health insurance.
Here she has no insurance, alone, needing brain surgery.
So I applied for the charity application.
So this is Reaper. Right here. This is Reaper. Liar.
Here's one instance where she lied claiming the murdered was male, but she took accountability, right?
The murderer was not male. Not male. Not male. Female.
Alone, needing brain surgery.
So I applied for the charity application.
Here's one instance where she lied claiming the murdered was male, but she took accountability, right?
Was protecting my husband.
Not your husband.
I lied, and I have come out and took accountability for that.
Wrong. It's always followed by, it's not my fault his family lied to me. A family that says they've never spoken to her. Before that, it was Robbie who said it was a male. Before that, it was a typing mistake. It's always followed with but this is the least harmful of the 3 stories she gave. She hasn't taken any accountability. Well, not for blaming and labeling the ex-wife he brutally beat, harassed, and went to kidnap, as a whore who set him up, labeling her as victimless. She hasn't spoken to the surviving victim since 1995, but I have and do often.
Just the way the laws work. Self-defense got turned into a capital murder because somebody wanted revenge.
Bullshit. You a fucking liar. I lived in Texas. You a damn liar. That's not how that happens. I'm telling you, I would go in there and listen to her, and I would get so pissed off, I would leave because I know the bitch was lying.
Her words. She literally called Genevieve's slaughtered self-defense a revenge, again blaming the ex-wife who was desperately trying to flee.
And got it. So now they're sitting with a life sentence and parole after 40 years, well, now 30. First offense on anything. No speeding ticket, nothing ever.
No speeding tickets, nothing ever. He just got charged with murder because he murdered a fucking female, not a male.
So because it was his first time murdering someone, he's being treated unfairly? Here she blamed the deceased for being slaughtered over a daughter the victim didn't have, using trauma of a child essay story that never happened to try and justify his crime. FYI, he fully confessed. She drugged these victims through the mud. She shamed the deceased son and even went as far as removing flowers off of the victim's grave.
Her trying to raise money to go to her husband's murder victim's grave. The audacity of setting foot near that grave. The family was not happy about that, Tara, at all. You are not welcome at that cemetery. I wouldn't go there again if I was you. You're in Kentucky, so you can't. That was a shitty thing to do. How upsetting for that family to find out that you fucking waddled your ass down there because someone sent flowers to your husband's murder victim. Unreal.
Here's her lying about needing a kidney, claiming her convict husband was a match.
Listen.
Here's prison regulations on organ donation. Not authorized until post-mortem. Here's her backpedaling about needing a kidney. Her medical ailments are ridiculous. She claims to have thunderclap migraines, a fractured skull, she's had a stroke, a heart attack, and died and came back twice. She has lupus, chronic kidney and degenerative disc disease, infected gallbladder, depression, broken back, who knows maybe. But the most vile claim cured of stage 4 inflammatory breast cancer. Magically in only a month and a half. Another medical miracle considering stage 4 IBC is not curable. Here's confirmation from UFC, ACS, and BCRF.
Out the door into hospice. And this is speaking from somebody who actually survived stage 4 inflammatory breast cancer.
That's okay, she has a son to exploit. Raising money for an autistic transgender today, gone tomorrow.
Which child? I know one of your children is transgendered. Is it your oldest with Robbie or is it the other one?
My youngest.
Your youngest. Okay, so that's
right.
Man,
he's kind of going.
So he's getting the counseling and stuff that he needs.
Therapy. You know. He's getting counseling and stuff like that. We're working on that.
And he's a trans man.
I don't know what he's really deciding.
Okay, well, I was just curious if he was
So
born.
Is the youngest one the autistic one? Is that the one that she said was trans when she did that GoFundMe? And then she said, no, it was her son that did the daughter or the son, whatever it was.
Male or born female. It doesn't really matter.
It's born male.
Okay. Okay.
For 6 months, Reaper said someone was like a P3DO for getting married at 18 and 24. She called her a groomer because of a 6-year age gap. Reaper's ex-husband was barely 18 and 26. 8 years, and I really didn't care until this person reminded me about the live. She said, if you're attracted to underage people, I don't give a shit. That's your thing, I don't care. I already posted her asking subs for donations, the GoFundMes. Here's more. Her being told she's done this before. More accounts, more dry begging, money loaned for a phone bill, $240 from this person, where she asked for the same marriage license over and over, her t-shirt scam. After a month, they no longer wanted the item and a refund
Damn, Reaper.
was requested. She was being avoided. Reaper already spent the money and pretty much told her she'll get what she gives her. Then Reaper doesn't send her anything, claims she's rebranding. Why? Because she was caught in so many lies. The customer contacted Shiz for help. Reaper made it clear it wasn't a priority of hers. Friends and followers.
Damn, Reaper. No. Don't do that.
Followers tried to convince Reaper to return the person's money. Ultimately, they received nothing.
There's more.
Throwing up her CA and Lisa's live, hers a few cash apps. This video is getting really long. Oh, and calling the people who believe her dummies. One thing Lisa was honest about. Continues to lie, claiming she only stole a pack of chicken.
She stole a whole fucking grocery cart at Walmart. $157 worth of groceries.
Oh. She pushed a cart full of $157 worth of merchandise out the door. You don't get jail and house arrest for $12 chicken. She currently has an active case open in her county. And the most recent discovery of her getting high on lives.
Me.
There
Nothing else makes sense.
She's snorting. Did you hear it? Did you hear it? Did you hear it? I heard it.
No, nothing else makes sense.
Congratulations, Robbie.
And she claims she's sober.
So do you, bitch. That's cocaine.
Okay, let me...
Crazy. Swallow, girl.
And I know because I
Swallow.
was on methadone and pain management for 8 years.
God damn it.
Some of it, I actually...
There she goes. I said before, I went in her chat and I told her, you're making money off an addict's back. And I meant that.
Okay, yep, that's it. All right,
goes.
emailing. Once I moved up here to Kentucky 5 years ago, it was so impossible getting into pain management up here. You know, I would love to tell you the pain medicines that I was on, but that shit would hit the frauditors. Oh my God. I mean, it was all medically prescribed. I'm not like the frauditors who need it just to function on a daily basis because they're addicted.
There's so much more. For example, she gave her husband a platform first, making it out like they were living together.
I went to church with just Robbie and me. I can tell you about that. My fiance is a minister for one of the prisons in Texas.
Oh!
Yeah, he absolutely loves it. He loves going there. He loves doing his ministry there. There's always something.
Bill Snorton. So he likes going there doing his ministry there. Girl, stop.
There's always something, you know. I mean, but he's very good about being there for all of the inmates. He's there in a heartbeat. He will be right there by their side.
He's in prison.
He absolutely loves his job. My fiance woke me up this morning at 6:30. I mean, we had our coffee together and we had our me time, and I only watch pornos with my person. Check on that.
She watches pornos.
I mean, my fiance is a minister at one of the prisons
she was
there,
doing several lines.
He knows how to get information very well.
Then trying to sell his art on her platform to unaware followers. They claim he's not online, but he is, and she knows it.
There he is. Oh, damn, I missed it. Okay.
But who gives a fuck? She tried to steal an author's work, claiming it was her own. Lied and said she was taking the bar exam.
I have started studying for the bar exam, and I will be taking it.
Girl,
I'm gonna take
shut
the
up.
bar, and then I'll go into
You don't have the brain
probation law.
cells.
Stole merchandise and did credit card fraud on eBay.
Just to hack, okay? Back in the early 2000s, I was a hacker. It was me and some
of my friends, and we did eBay hacking. What we did is the main guy, internet, I'm not going to say his name, he would get people's credit card numbers, order things on eBay, have it delivered to myself or 3 other people here in the U.S., and we would keep what we wanted and sell what we didn't want.
Look at her charges. Credit card fraud is what she should be charged with. Receiving stolen goods, theft, and larceny, distribution of stolen goods.
That's basically what we did. And I did that for a long time, and then...
The list goes on and on. She never cared about Lisa or her victims.
Nope.
She even said she wants her to continue. It's her only income.
That's how she makes her money to put on her murderer's books. By exploiting Lisa, even though she's a piece of shit that lies and manipulates and steals. They're both the same.
Listen, the more lives Lisa does, the more videos I get to make.
You hear it?
The more money you get to make.
You hear it? The more money I get to make. And then if you ask her a question, she ignores it unless you send her a Cash App. So I sent her a message on TikTok because she follows me. Bitch just ignored it.
I'm coming, baby.
So no one would care what her husband did 29 years ago if she wasn't slandering and shaming the victims today. Not only
Look
that,
at her.
but
look at her. There she is. That's frauditor. Look at her. You fucking thief. You lying piece of shit.
Everything she shames others for she's guilty of. So you're either uninformed and unknowingly helping a scamming hypocrite junkie along to her next fix, or you're co-signing it, which makes you the same and right where you should be.
I'm going to drop the link in the chat so you guys can follow this channel.
Okay, now. I made out with Nick Carter, so
she made out with Nick Carter. Girl, stop.
It was easy to get backstage in the 90s.
There it is. So that's Frauditor. That's the channel. They have unmasked the fraud. That is Frauditor Reaper. So, okay. I want to say thank you to everybody that's here. I appreciate it. I really, really do. I'm going to go through and pick some more. I know tomorrow morning we're going to discuss Sister Wives. We're going to do a recap of Real Housewives of Atlanta. We're going to do Poly Family. I think just those 3 is what we owe you. Now that's a scammer. Yes, that's a scammer. So I'm going to get out of here and but my plan is to do a members only tonight because I owe you guys a members only. And I have a lot to say, but I need to watch two streams. I need to watch 2 streams. So I'm not speaking, out of my ass. I just want to make sure that I have the details correct. So that is my plan. But you guys have a great, great day. I appreciate every one of you being here. And I think that's going to conclude our morning coffee. I got to take this down. And I think that's going to conclude our morning coffee. Bye, guys. Have a great, great day. We'll talk at you later. Bye.